We're gonna go into Cici Onyekwere, Sam Mattis, Alex Rose, and their Olympic prep, and we're gonna start right now. Okay, so we were at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, and when I was there, dude, I took everything I possibly could because I knew this was a significant meet for everybody that was there. All the GS/Throws U athletes, we got Jason Van Rooyen, Tim Nettel, and then Cici, Alex, and Sam. And I wanted to get as much footage as we could so that we could look back, one, remember this great accomplishment of going to Tokyo, but two, just watch what happened. What was the training like? And we're gonna go right into this, where some of the first videos is we're gonna be about 2 to 3 days out, and Cici and Alex, we were training at a different location where the circle was absolutely horrific. It was like throwing on glass. It was a different training session, and I will say Cici was also dealing with a whole bunch of stuff with the NGB from Nigeria, so there was a whole bunch of different things going on. She was focused in smashing some big throws, but let's go into the entire training session. We're gonna start off with Alex Rose right here. And if you listen, I'm gonna turn up the volume here. Okay, so that throw is actually pretty good. If Alex could hold that middle position for his left to get deeper, but even there, he's sort of pointing out he's slipping pretty bad off that left foot. If you listen, that throw is nice. That noise, I mean, if you follow anime, you're gonna know what that noise is, right? Okay, so that's Sam. Now this circle is actually right outside the stadium. Oh, there's Alex wearing the same shirt as me. So some good throws here. Cuban smashing. What was so cool about these sessions too is that those training sessions were like just crazy intense. And what was even crazier is when you're throwing at these different locations, and Alex and Cici, we were at one location. We got to train one day outside the stadium, but when you're at these different locations, like you get bused there and you might be out throwing and you see all these other countries, you know, Jamaicans show up and you see Sandra Perkovic show up, and it's just like, as an athlete and as a coach, you just gotta realize, like, dude, these are your competitors. It's not about fanboying. It's not about looking at them and being like, oh my gosh, look, it's Sandra Perkovic. She's a 2-time Olympic champ. It doesn't matter. You're there to get work done. You respect what they're doing and you see what they're doing, and you even try and see what their coaches are doing. And you know, Julian, who I think is one of the best coaches in the world from Jamaica, just getting to interact with him, seeing Veston and how he interacts with the Swedish guys. You learn that, but you don't, at least for me personally, I try to just stay in my lane and what we have planned and what we're trying to accomplish. And that's also where a lot of this footage comes into play, is that we were watching this footage back in the village then too. We would sit there, we'd load it onto my computer and say, all right, let's see what you did today in training. What were you doing? Why were you slipping on that left? What was happening on the finish? And so here's Sam. This is actually right before qualification. So this is like 8 in the morning. Fell in a little bit off that left, not bad. Okay, here's Alex back at the other training venue. Wish I could have put this camera inside. I had another camera in the front side. So this is the nighttime session where Alex had probably some of his best throws in that nighttime session. He had a couple bombs. And then he had one throw where he sort of slid off of that left a little bit and he tweaked his groin a hair. You know, he didn't perform as well as we wanted him to at the actual qualification, but you know, dude, that's it. That's a game. It's like you've got to take any little thing can really happen. But here's Cici, and during this point with Cici, she was dealing, and that throw was nice, dude. She was smashing that throw. I want to actually watch that again. She was dealing with, she didn't know if she was going to compete, which she wasn't allowed to compete because Nigeria didn't uphold their end in submissions and getting her the right testing. Just a terrible event, but she was so focused on, dude, I'm just gonna go in and make the most out of this training session because I might be able to compete. And this is, you know, this was a bomb. Boom. She's already fixing that technique too, where she's grounding in the middle. Dude, she's gonna hammer throws this year in Eugene. I'm convinced of that. She looks so good already this fall. Here's Alex again. Now, I think he does slip a little on this one on the left foot. Yeah, you can see that, and then that left ends up blocking him off because he's falling in, but he's still hammering those. But this is when his groin started to bug him because of that slip off that left foot. bad either. Just sending them. Just sending them. So some of these throws he was starting to change what he was doing out of the back, mainly because, you know, he's coming out of the back, he's sliding. So then he was trying to almost like go up out of the back to try and get off the left a little bit quicker and not have that slide. And dude, I think all that stuff played a factor in his performance then, because then he got into the comp, his groin was a little bugged. He was training on that outside circle. And one of the benefits with the Americans, with Sam, was we would go, so I would go with Alex and Cici to the one training venue. And then with Sam, I could go to the venue where the USOPC had reserved. And it was just the Americans training on this other track, and the circle there was nice. So Sam was either at the stadium circle or he was at the actual venue circle for the US team. So, and what was crazy for my day was that I'd wake up, you know, and depending on the bus schedule and where we were going, we'd take the bus to the other venue where there would be a bunch of countries, okay? Then I'd come back, I'd eat lunch, and I'd meet with Sam, one of the coaches from the US, and we would go to the other venue with the Americans, and then we'd come back and we'd meet back with Alex and Cici back in the village, and we might watch some videos or watch on our phone or whatever while we're eating in the village, and then go to bed and then do it again. So it was sort of just like crazy travel for me, but it's fun thinking about, it was a week of just throwing at different venues, traveling throughout Tokyo, and we were at the Olympics, so that was pretty neat. So here's Sam. This is back outside the stadium. The stadium's over to the right here. The warm-up track's over to the right, and there he falls in hard. This was actually that throw. Let's see if we can watch that again. I'm gonna watch that last throw again. Let's fast forward down here so you guys can see this, because this is one of his last throws before qualification, okay? And if you notice, Sam shanks this out the left, okay? Falls in hard, late left, shanks it down the left sector, outside the left sector. Now, he did this similar in Doha. Okay, so what happened in Doha, he actually, in our warm-ups, and if you go way back to 2019, he actually puts one, and this is Sam, puts one into the cage and almost comes back and hits him. And then his first throw in warm-ups, he puts way outside that left sector. So I was watching this going, okay, Sam put this outside the left sector, but then I also am going, all right, well in Doha, he did it actually in the stadium warm-ups, and he still made the final. So he did that outside, and I'm like, all right, I think he'll be okay. And it was just like, all right, talking with Sam and talking with Alex before qualification, and going over those two cues, and essentially using that last throw to set up those two cues. And then we had these papers here, which is an actual paper from the Olympics. That's sort of like my memento, right? That's like where we sit down and we go over, these are the cues that we're gonna focus on. And then before they go into the holding area, we sit there and we go over, all right, I want to get level, wider out of the back and get that left down faster. And that's the only cue that we're gonna focus on going into the competition. So when Sam did that, I was a little concerned. But looking back, I knew he could hold that, right? I knew he could set that up. And that's what ended up, you know, he goes into qualification, hits a season best, goes into the final, hits a season best, gets 8th at the Olympics, and performs absolutely phenomenally. So, you know, this is a great time, a great training sessions, and there's just so much to learn as a coach, and that's something that I'm going to value, one, for the rest of my life, because I want to use this as a jumping off point with all these athletes to get them to 24, but even more importantly, to get into Eugene in 22, and to go to Eugene and just totally dominate, to really lay down like, hey, we are here, and we're gonna shock the world in 22. So looking back on this is so exciting. If you guys need help with your throwing, head over to throwsuniversity.com. We can help you with custom built throws programs, and so you can put together all of that throwing, all of that lifting, and we can help you dominate your opponents. Until next time, guys, peace.